This TaxSlayer Pro training video features a brief discussion on EIC due diligence. In this earned income credit example, my client is filing head of household with one dependent, and we're going to go to the income menu. I've entered in my client's W-2 information. And once I exit the income menu, the program recognizes that because of my client's filing status, the fact that he has a dependent child, and his income level, he might possibly qualify for earned income credit. This takes me to the Form 8867 EIC Checklist menu within the program. Anytime I see Must Answer, I need to click on that menu and answer the due diligence questions that are enclosed. So let's start off with number 1, questions for all taxpayers. Was the taxpayer a non-resident alien for any part of the year? No. Is the taxpayer a qualifying child of another person? No. Did you complete Form 8867 based on current information provided by the taxpayer? I'm going to answer yes. Did you ask this taxpayer any additional questions necessary to meet your knowledge requirement? And notice the last sentence in this box. You cannot rely on the software alone to meet your due diligence requirements. You must have a complete understanding of the tax law and comply with the knowledge requirements. At this point, what I'm going to do is press the F8 key for notes. On this screen, I'm going to start documenting some of the interview questions and responses for my due diligence records, my due diligence notes that my client gives me in support of our claim for the Earned Income Tax Credit. I've recorded a few responses here that my client furnished me during our interview process. I've included these in my 8867 EIC Due Diligence notes. So I'm going to click OK and continue on with the due diligence questions. I'm going to go ahead and answer this question yes, that I did ask the taxpayer any additional questions necessary to meet the knowledge requirement. I'm going to go ahead and answer yes to the question, did we document the additional questions that I asked and my client's answers? And I'm going to go ahead and answer yes. Did the taxpayer provide me with the information necessary to answer the previous EITC questions? I've satisfied the requirements now for menu option number 1, questions for all taxpayers. I have my taxpayer qualifying. And now, since we have a qualifying child involved on the return, I need to access menu option number 2, part 2. Does Whitney qualify another person for EIC? I'm going to answer no. I've now qualified Whitney according to the 8867 EIC Checklist menu. Next, we need to determine the residency of the qualifying child. I'm going to click on menu option number 4. We're going to say that we used school records and statements. So I'm going to place a check in that box. Click OK. I'm reminded that the IRS requires me to keep a copy of any documents that I saw that I relied upon for purposes of determining eligibility for EIC. And so now I've satisfied all of the requirements in the 8867 EIC Checklist menu, and I'm going to go ahead and exit this menu. I'm reminded there's a $500 per return penalty for failure to meet EIC due diligence requirements, so I'm going to go ahead and exit. I'm now back at my client's 1040 screen, and I can go into number 8, the Payments, Estimates, EIC menu, and I see that my client qualified for $2,315 in EIC. Let's get back to basics. The 4 due diligence requirements that every paid preparer must do. First, complete the EIC Checklist, the Form 8867 in the software. Allow the software to complete the computation worksheet. It shows all of the income sources that we factor: wages, self-employment, interest income, and adjusted gross. Keep thorough records, either paper or electronic, for 3 years. Include records of how, when, and from whom you got the information to prepare the return. Keep your records safe. Know the law. Document as you go. Use your knowledge to ask your client all the right questions to get all of the relevant facts. Preparers are expected to apply a common sense standard to the information that we receive. When in doubt, go to www.eitc.irs.gov for due diligence best practices.